38-year-old Andrew Tate's opinions are vile, violent and very challenging.
Bang out the boom in her face and grip her up by the neck. Assault, bitch!
But far from being repulsed, his millions of followers, mostly made up of adolescent boys and young men, revere him as a hero.
Andrew Tate is, most of you guys know, high-profile internet personality whose brand is built on confidence and truth-telling framing. He is very frustrating. I don't like the guy. He fits the cult of personality dynamics because loyalty often attaches to him as a symbol, making criticism feel like persecution, and this encourages defensive enforcement and so forth. Like, he kind of built this larger-than-life character of his, right?
Not too differently from real-life cults. You usually have your narcissistic, charismatic leader feeding his devout audience some really dangerous ideologies, promising to fix their lives in one way or another.
I have at least partially escaped the Matrix. Everything I do is conscious. What you're supposed to do is not cry, because this is a test in mental fortitude.
When in reality, they're just exploiting them for their own needs. But because these leaders and their followers are not meeting up in some dark room, secluded from society, far away, but rather do everything that they're doing in a very public space, on the internet in front of millions to see.
If you don't want to make me a cup of coffee, that's perfectly fine. Pack a fucking bag.
I hope he lives forever. Their actions end up being dismissed as something that could never be cult-like.
How he got set up, he grew through viral clips.
I see myself as superior to females, and not in a negative way. Like, I'm not saying you can't train any girl, but I'm saying some blueprints are better than others.
All right, I'm going to do a really brief, quick rundown of Andrew, the beginning of his life, where he came from, and how he kind of got started as this Manosphere influencer. In my opinion, cult leader. A lot of what I'm going to say here is my opinion. And let's jump in. Andrew Tate likes to frame his younger years as very traumatic and something that turned him into what he is now, and tries to use this as an excuse as to why he does what he does. And as others have pointed out, just because you were sad when you were a kid doesn't give you an excuse to do horrible things to women and other people. It's the same saying, oh, I had a tough childhood and that's why I killed them, Your Honor. Not everyone who has a tough childhood grows up to be like this. You can't blame your childhood for how you treat other people in the world. I'm going to be popping in with my opinion all throughout this. His mother was from England, who met his father, who was an American, while he was in the Air Force, and he was stationed in the UK. They later moved to the US after he retired. His father became a grandmaster, chess grandmaster, and played this professionally for a living, and Andrew, he started to do this as well. His parents ended up getting a divorce. This led to him moving back to the UK with his mom, and he no longer had his dad or coach or anything for chess. He kind of lost that path. That's when he decided to become a kickboxer. He got his big break when there was a late pullout in a bout, and he had about 3 days notice, and he had to lose so much weight and whatever. So he got ready for the fight. Everything was fine, but he ended up losing the fight. The judges decided that something was wrong with it. They ended up redoing the fight. Then he won again, and then with him winning, he got the ISKA like heavyweight world champion for the first time. Kind of coasted on that being like his title's known thing for a while, and he had a few girlfriends in a few different countries, but there was no money in this. And then he started trying to think of a way that he could make some money. So him and his brother actually came up like a get rich scheme. Andrew wanted to create like a cam girl site.
And one day I woke up, and I literally just woke up. I looked at my bank. I just won a world title fight, but I hadn't fought in 6 months. By the time I paid all my back rent and paid my car payments, all that, I looked at my bank. I had like $3,000, $4,000 in there, and I'm like, I'm giving up my entire life, and I don't even know how I'm going to live. I need to get rich. So I said to my coach, look, I'm going to take a couple months off, and I'm going to focus purely on money. I'm sitting with my brother, and I'm like, how can we get rich? The only thing I had was, because I'd been fighting all around the world, I had these 6 girlfriends. Because you'd win the world title, you fuck a ring girl, she falls in love with you, you're the big millionaire in London, of course. She thinks you live in the balling life. You're in some tiny apartment with a door lock.
So he actually had 6 girlfriends at the time. They didn't know about each other. He ended up inviting them all to move to London for a job. Of the the 6, 4 of them did agree. He convinced them that they were going to live this lavish lifestyle and earn a ton of money. When the 4 showed up, they didn't know about each other. So then they found out, then 2 of them left. So he started his cam girl business with 2 girls. He ended up developing a model where the girls would pretend to type on a keyboard, but it was unplugged. He was actually typing to the men.
And I'm sitting there typing, and I'd type 16, 17 hours a day for about 3 months. I'm just typing until the girls learn. And once the girls learned they could do it themselves, then I thought, I don't know, I need some more chicks. And that was kind of the beginning of the cam empire.
There is an interview that Andrew Tate's brother did about this cam girl stuff, and he calls it a scam. This YouTuber, Pinely, he actually reads through the article quoting Andrew's brother about the cam girl stuff. So I'm going to include this clip as well.
It's gonna get worse from here, but according to this article, his own brother referred to their cam girl website as a total scam, saying how the women on the website are given fake sob stories to try and manipulate the men that watch them into giving them a whole load of money, which is pretty cool. I mean, criminal. Some women will claim to have crippling university debt, a family member in need of private health care, or a dream of moving to the United Kingdom, sometimes even telling men that they want to meet them. This article quotes the Tate brother himself. This is what he has to say about their business. It's a total scam. The model just has their hands on a keyboard that isn't even plugged in. I have real professionals who are fluent in English behind the scenes getting men hooked, finding out their interests, the name of their dog. It's an operation of professionals who lured these men in.
And that's where he kind of built it from there. And as they grew, then they hired more girls. And there was about 75 women across 4 locations doing shows when their business really was in the thick of it. But from the beginning of the cam girl stuff, Tate actually wasn't this Manosphere online personality yet. Andrew would end up making a name for himself through a casino deal, which I'll get to in a second. But first, he was on Big Brother around 2016 or so, and he came on as this kickboxer. Like, that was sort of his, well-known thing that he was known for. He ended up, this video leaked of him. It was a DV video, and there's a couple of them, and I'm going to put some of their clips in here. So trigger warning. They are all blurred out, and just some of the things that he says about women. So that ended up being leaked. Then he got kicked off the Big Brother show because of that.
In 2016, when he was booted off the UK's version of Big Brother.
Due to events in the outside world, Andrew has had to leave the Big Brother house.
The reason? This disturbing video emerged of him striking a woman. But far from being cancelled, Tate, with help from his younger brother Tristan, used the negative publicity to begin promoting the idea of toxic masculinity, and more specifically, that a woman is a man's property.
If I have responsibility over her, then I must have a degree of authority. You can't be responsible for a dog if it doesn't obey you.
Where he actually got his online personality is he actually reached out to a casino owner that had franchises, and he convinced him to let him try and build up his casino, get him a bunch of business and everything like that. He ended up just running this casino really well, where he offered, the casino was next to a Starbucks. He offered fancy coffees to come to the casino, like a free coffee. So that convinced people to come in. But what ended up happening is he used the casino as a platform or as a stage, and he told people that he had all this money, he had bottle service, he had all these girls and everything. People could live his lavish lifestyle too, and this is what started his brand. So he didn't own the casinos, he didn't have this money, he was running them, and he was just using it to make it seem like he had all these things, all these fancy things.
There was a Starbucks 2 doors down. So a lot of people going out to Starbucks. It was like coffee. So I put up these massive signs saying free coffee. And I got us a barista, and I got us a big coffee machine, Starbucks level, the best possible coffee machine. So, and the point was, why would you go pay $5 for coffee? You can come get free coffee with me. Gamble your $5. You might get lucky.
And then from there, starting up his university, Hustlers University, where he teaches people how to hustle like him. They learn to become your own PIMP. And then he starts pushing crypto, which he didn't actually make a ton. He made his money off of really the cam girls, yes. And then also selling his image with this casino deal thing that people didn't realize. He didn't have that money, he didn't pay for that bottle service. He just used that to make it seem like he was richer than he was. And there's the flaw in these courses and stuff that these Manosphere guys actually do. They are based off of the hard work that they put in, but they make it seem like it's a get-rich-quick thing. Most of the time, they try to convince you to do crypto or trade, where that isn't where this person made their money. This person made their money off of other means. And actually, there was recently a documentary about the Manosphere by Louis Theroux. I'll put a clip that he did an interview after about these courses that all the Manosphere guys sell.
If you take my advice, I'll give you the cheat codes to life. And you will be rich like me. But the way they teach you to be rich is generally not the way they got rich, if they are rich. Because the other part of it is, it's not clear how much of it is even real.
I do recommend that you go and watch the Netflix documentary that he did. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. And what he's saying here is how much is even real. He would ask these guys, hey, do you own this place? And they're like, no, we rent it. And he's like, do you own these cars? No, I lease them. There's this misconception that these people actually own all this stuff when they don't. As well, he's going to mention someone named HS. That was the focus of the majority of his documentary. And essentially this guy, HS, he's a streamer, and he's made most of his money off of streaming on I think Kick and Twitch and stuff like that. So that's what he's commenting towards with HS too coming up here, because I know some context will be lost here if you haven't watched the documentary. So I'll try to fill it in.
There's so much false content. There's so much misleading advertising, in my opinion. The idea that, if you want to be a multimillionaire, just do what I did and go on this FX trading platform. And you're thinking, actually, I'm pretty sure HS Tiki-Toki made his money by streaming for 10 hours a day, and taking a cut of the products that he's selling, not by trading on FX. You know what I mean? There's a sort of a bait and switch going on. And then with Tate specifically, he came up kind of as an offshoot of the PUA community, the pickup artistry community. How you have to get a girlfriend and then she'll fall in love with you, and then you introduce her to camming, and then you take her money.
We will also dive a bit more into that Manosphere documentary. At the time when I first wrote the script for all this video and I was filming it, I didn't know about this documentary. And actually there's a bunch of feedback from women that came out after. And I'm going to end up adding a bunch of that to this video here. So these case studies were really seeing the sort of extreme sides of both, where the extreme sides of the spiritual wellness industry with Teal, Swan, and now we're getting into the Manosphere stuff. And this is the male dominated kind of personality cult. So that was just the background a bit of Andrew, so you understand where he came from and how he ended up where he did. Now we're actually going to discuss the signs and, in my opinion, proof that he's a cult leader, and other people have called him out as well. So I have a couple things to show you guys from some different YouTubers, creators, and also 60 Minutes did a big thing on him too. So we're going to be diving into that as well.
I went over some really long lists and papers about different kinds of traits and characteristics that cult leaders have, and I think that Andrew has all of them. The cult's main selling point is to offer the follower a new perspective on life, a new kind of truth that will make everything make a lot more sense to them.
Do you ever look around you and just look at the world and feel kind of like we're in the Matrix, there's something missing?
It's all preying on this feeling that something needs to be changed, something needs to be done, and look at this. There's a guy coming to you, giving you exactly that.
The techniques that are used in this particular case. This is what personality cult machinery looks like in a creator context. It was myth making. He was framed as this uniquely real and persecuted, honest person saying what other people won't say. Literally, this is the kind of stuff said about him.
So that is you saying that women are your property.
It's not about being property. It's about the fact that she belongs to him and the intimate parts of her body belong to him because they're in a relationship. And if she wants to sell those, he has a stake in those intimate parts of her body.
So it's reverse. Male star owes the woman.
I don't know, because I think the women belong to the man. I think the woman's
yeah, that's inherently where you get called sexist.
There were things like pre-framing the narrative, where critics were dismissed as haters and brainwashed, or they were dismissed as like beta men, or like just the absolutely ridiculous stuff. But, you know, people fall for it.
Also, sometimes he just talks in his TikToks about like normal things, like, I don't know, inflation and explaining how the rich get richer. So these videos might catch the attention of someone, get them to think that he's like not that bad at all, and continue watching his other stuff.
Toxic masculinity and the manosphere is really building upon the insecurities of young men to build out their influence and their cult, essentially.
He talks a lot to men who have been cheated by their girlfriends.
I've had loads of guys come to me and they tell me their sob story by email. And they're like, what should I do? I'm like, leave her.
Dudes who feel like they struggle with finding the right relationship, or just men who feel like they can't even understand women.
I have people mess with me all the time. I'm fat and I can't get a girlfriend because I'm depressed. I'm like, no, pancake lover. You're depressed because you're fat.
And most young men face these issues with women, and that is what Andrew and the manosphere is preying upon.
An insecurity that I've heard and known about since I was a teenager, essentially, is that guys have when it comes to being the person to initiate, being the one to actually muster up the courage to go to a person that you like and tell them about the house. We used to hang out all the time after school. Guess what? This girl, we're not friends anymore. My inaction resulted in the same thing that I was scared of.
And we can relate this back to the systems of influence inside normal cult dynamics.
So systems of influence are the more subtle manipulations of your emotions. You know, guilt, shame, fear, love.
He gets people to worship everything that he says because he keeps talking about how smart he is.
I don't make mistakes. Everything I do is conscious.
And Andrew's message has convinced a lot of men that they need him in their lives. That Andrew and his ideas, his belief system, will fix all of their problems.
The transcendent belief system is the overarching ideology. It gives you the answers to the past, the present, and future. So it's a new way for you to understand the world and your role in the world. And it's inclusive in that when you are part of that, you feel like you're a member of the elite, you're special, and those other people who aren't part of it, well, there's just something wrong with them.
Tate bluntly plays on that element quite a bit.
He falls with omnipresence as well. There is constant algorithmic clips, so it's unavoidable at times. Like, he's just always in the feed. And like any good cult, he also has religious undertones, surprisingly.
In Andrew Tate's Hustlers University, there's a section on the website called Tales of Wudan, where Andrew has essentially written like a whole ass fan fiction about himself.
Also important to point out, this is no longer on his website. This was when he was first getting started. This is like the Hustler 2.0 or 1.0. This is the stuff he had on the website at that time. But it's important to bring up because he kind of designed his whole brand, and he still does. Like, he has religious undertones, just he's better at hiding them now.
It is some of the nerdiest shit I've ever seen in my whole life. Good picture. In a previous life, I lived 5,000 human years atop Wudan Mountain. Everything about this reeks of religious elements. You've been walking blind, ignorant to the real truths of the world. And hey, guess who's there to release you from all of that? None other than Mr. Tate.
I am the guy trying to wake you up from slavery.
Now we take a look at his polished answer about religion, PR answer after he initially got arrested and stuff. This was his like little, I'm sorry, I'm not this type of person for real video, and he made promises and stuff. But now we get to hear how he sounds now that he can afford like a PR team.
I live with a very, very pure heart. I'm a religious man. I go to church, and anyone who follows me in detail knows I donate huge sums of money to the church. And as long as I knew the truth of my heart and God knew the truth of my heart, I wasn't interested in lies being purported.
I'm not really sure which religion Andrew is referring to, but gambling is not permitted in all religions. In Christianity, for example, the very nature of gambling as a means of making money at the expense of others was seen as contradicting the Bible. The Roman Catholic Church takes a more liberal stance on gambling, and lucky strikers are not considered sinful. Orthodox Church agrees with the Catholic Church. The same goes with Islamic religion that recognizes only two types of deeds, haram and halal.
He has literally made a religious tale about himself.
Secret truth claims and bro marketing, like you want to be rich and successful and have women and this and that, and you got to be manly and you got to be an alpha bro. So his appeal mixed with wealth and status and identity, especially for audiences feeling uncertain or overlooked. So it tended to attract a lot of what some people would refer to as incels. For those unfamiliar, incel means involuntary celibate, essentially people that are struggling to have a relationship. It actually was started by a woman, not a man. Men took it over, of course, and turned it into this mess that it is now. The courses are a key aspect as they are treated like secret knowledge that you would get outside of his TikToks. It's like special secret knowledge for only the club that's, close to Andrew. And that's kind of how they're sold, which is a lot of cult information and growth and learning and raising yourself up the ladder. In a cult, it's common that there's a lot of courses and such too.
Well, look no further than Hustlers Academy 2.0, the only school that you can ever go to that will probably make you a bit more dumb. This is the moment you've been waiting for. This is where you get to give Andrew some good old cash. Lucky you.
Hustler University now has over 4,000 members, paying him $49 per month.
This is an older video. It's now Hustlers University 4.0, so the numbers have probably gone way up in the amount of people signed up, but there is a basic fee, which is like the $49 one, and then there's like the War Room, which is the VIP area, I guess, and you get like closer access to Andrew or something. And I've heard that's a few $1,000s a month at least. Now, here is just a clip of 2.0 of the basic fee course of something that you would see in it.
They are still inside the matrix. These people have never been rich. They've never been to where you want to go. So how could they possibly know the way? I've climbed to the top of the mountain, so I can tell you the mountain path.
And this video, again, it's older and talks about the War Room as well.
His top tier membership is the War Room, which now costs over $4,000 to be a part of. And this is considered his close network, how they're making millions of dollars, but also how to break free of the government matrix by having multiple passports, residences, and driver's licenses. He describes it like the Freemasons, but much cooler.
The War Room is for men who understand something is missing.
Something isn't right here, like there's something missing.
You felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there.
The red pill movement and the matrix metaphor that they use, we're going to revisit in the Manosphere section after this Andrew section, so we're going to circle back to this because I have a few points I want to say about it.
The War Room is for men who will die without regret.
I know things were a little bit more lighthearted with the other person that I was showing some clips of, but now we're going to get into the serious stuff, and this is the things that make Andrew very dangerous and scary, and like he has convictions waiting, or like he hasn't been convicted yet, but there's like cases open. There's a bunch of stuff. A lot of it was covered in this 60 Minutes interview and film and this documentarian that I felt was pretty good, so we're going to take a look at it. Oh, and this 60 Minutes special and this documentary and everything, this was just aired. It was only about 7 months ago, so this is very up to date with a lot of the stuff, and I do have some updates regarding the criminal situations that the Tate brothers are finding themselves in as well, and we'll get to those.
The so-called king of toxic masculinity.
It bears so many hallmarks of a cult.
And
very scary.
So why do millions of young men believe him?
Year 11, I was looking for something to cling on to.
He became your role model.
Absolutely.
This filmmaker ended up following Andrew around for the next 5 years, documenting and getting an inside look at Andrew Tate, the Manosphere, toxic masculinity, the whole thing. He's got a very interesting perspectives and feedback that he gave for his interview and everything, and his work that he did on 60 Minutes.
Filmmaker Jamie Tarzan first met Andrew Tate in 2019 when he and journalist Matt Shea embarked on a documentary about Tate's life. Over the next 5 years, Jamie had unprecedented access to one of the world's most divisive figures.
That he can be incredibly charming. And I say this quite often to my friends who ask me, what is Andrew Tate like? I say, if you met him in the pub and you didn't know anything about him, he was just a stranger and he came over and spoke to you, you would end up thinking, That's a really great guy, because he has this incredible ability to mirror people and say the right thing. It's something that the women I spoke to who alleged groomed him touched upon, because they said, you know, we're not idiots. We didn't just fall for this guy who came out saying, I'm a horrible man, I think you're all idiots, I'm going to enslave you. He charmed them, and he's very good at presenting himself as what you want him to be.
We will be hearing some statements from the women so you can understand a little bit about like the love bombing and things like that, how he tricked them into it. And that's another reason why he gets away with some of the stuff he does too, is he'll like smirk at the camera and things when he's saying all these awful things, and then he'll turn around and tell people that he's playing a character or he's just joking, he's just doing that to make money, and then he acts like a different person, he puts on a mask. This is very common in my opinion, allegedly. Sociopaths do this a lot, but there are other people that are good at doing this too, different psychological disorders. So Andrew gets to attract the right audience with his toxic masculinity, but then he can turn around and say that he was just joking. It's very calculated. This documentarian followed him around for 5 years. He saw him when the cameras weren't running. He saw him in many different situations, and his findings are that Andrew truly believes this stuff. And this is not a joke, this is not an act.
Oh no, I believe he believes it. I've spoken to women that knew Andrew Tate back in 2014, 2013, long before he was famous. He was a real sort of fringe kickboxer back when combat sports weren't really a big thing. And they all said he would say incredibly misogynistic things back then. Even back then they said, one of them told me she vividly remembers a point his Facebook cover photo was an image of a man with his foot pressed down on a woman's head. And throughout my time with Andrew Tate, there were these recurring moments that kind of indicated, yes, he really does believe that women aren't as intelligent as men. Women shouldn't be able to vote. Women should be entirely devoted to their husbands in a sense that they're essentially their slaves. These are all things that Andrew Tate does believe. I think what's most interesting about him is he's managed to convince himself that holding those views is not misogynistic. It's just viewing men and women as different. It doesn't involve any hatred of women, which is obviously ridiculous.
And not enough people take this stuff seriously. Andrew Tate and people like him are very dangerous. And I think that it's an important point to get across that we need people to realize.
How dangerous do you think this man is?
I think he's incredibly dangerous, not just because of the severity of what he says, but also the scale of his reach. So there's this whole generation of young men who look at Andrew Tate and go, not only is misogyny something that's acceptable, but it's also a route to becoming rich and famous.
Now we circle back into the cult of personality. There are a couple YouTubers that 60 Minutes actually interviewed here, which I'm going to show you, and they talk about the cult dynamics of it all. And just to preface as well, they have been doing exposés on Andrew on YouTube, and Andrew's actually got lawsuits against them. So like he's scared of what they are saying because they are pulling young men out of the cult. And they do talk about this a bunch in the interview. I will link the interview as well.
I think Andrew Tate is a unique evil in the world, and he's influencing a generation of younger men. That is a unique evil, I think.
I started looking at some videos and realising that they were targeting kids as young as 11 and 12 years old and recruiting them into what I ended up working out and believing was a cult environment.
And if we bring it back to a bunch of the stuff that we've discussed, there's actually a good example of loyalty signaling within Andrew's community. And with loyalty signaling, support became something, or is something, that people perform publicly. People defended him. They repeat slogans. They make fun of people who question him because there was social reward amongst their community. And big one, audience enforcement. His community does a lot of dogpiling, harassment, different things like that.
Exposing Andrew Tate comes at a cost. Have you personally been threatened?
Oh, yes. Yes.
What are they saying?
That they're going to find me, they're going to kill me, they're going to, yeah.
You've had death threats?
Absolutely, yeah.
When people start criticizing him, then people are seeing it as threatening the system, or threatening men, or threatening culture of men, and different things like that. One of the big ones too is like when Tate was arrested, that's when his issues were highlighted by outsiders more. But the Manosphere at this point it's grown already, and there's a lot of attacking going on with it.
Beneath the flashy social media facade, there are now serious allegations of assault and rape, and criminal investigations into alleged human trafficking spanning several countries.
Just to walk it back for a second, let's take a look at some old clips of him Andrew discussing why he went to Romania, why he was there, and sort of setting up this empire and his reasonings. And these interview clips, in my opinion, really aged like sour milk.
To move to Romania, let's listen to him describe why he decided to make this change in his life.
People say, why did you live in Romania? And I explain my 5 reasons. One of them is the Me Too era.
He's going to be repeating the word for SA a lot here. It's bleeped out, but he goes on to pretty much say that he is a racist, in my opinion, based on his own words, which we're going to take a look at right now. He moved to Romania so that he could get away with it.
If you're going to go to the police and say he me back in 1988, they're going to say we should have done something about it then. They go, oh, well, you're a racist. I say, no, I'm not fucking racist. But I like the idea of being able to just say to do what I want. I like being free.
It's definitely the type of guy you should invite on your podcast. Yeah, that's definitely the kind of dude I want to have a fun little conversation with. If this creepy and disgusting obsession that he has over rape laws is not enough of a self-report, then this probably is. In 2017, in the midst of all the Harvey Weinstein stuff, where the things that he has done were very much out there in the public eye already, he had this to say: in those types of situations, pretending women are blameless and men shouldn't is stupid.
And when he and his brother got arrested, that's when he started releasing some stuff trying to kind of be a martyr for the cause.
I do have a problem with false criminal accusations when I do not have a criminal record. And I have never had a criminal record in any country on the planet. I do have a problem with this.
I agree that a person is innocent until proven guilty, but he was charged with criminal activities such as human trafficking. And the fact that he was under investigation is true, but he was not arrested because there was not enough evidence. And that's why he is right here.
Now, for the sake of Andrew's victims, whether it's the girls that he hurt or the young men that he is influencing to think that this is okay behavior, we're going to dive a little bit more into what's going on with this case. We're going to hear from some of his victims as well, some of the female victims that have had issues with him and have some lawsuits and other things pending with him as well. And this is where things are going to get more intense with some of the stories that you're going to hear.
There are multiple lawsuits and criminal investigations running across the UK, US and Romania, some of which allege widespread abuse and human trafficking at the hands of Andrew and Tristan Tate.
They're very classic traffickers, in my opinion. I don't think they're unusual in their methods and what they did and how they did it. I think the only real thing that's unusual about them is that they bragged about it so much.
Danny Pinter is an attorney with the United States National Center on Sexual Exploitation. In 2022, her client, known as Jane Doe, flew to Romania, thinking she'd be travelling around Europe with her boyfriend, Tristan Tate. Instead, she found herself in the middle of an alleged trafficking operation. When she got to Romania, what happened?
When she got there, she was quickly moved into a house with other women who appeared to all be working in webcam. Perform on webcam for many hours at a time, late into the night. They didn't seem happy in her opinion. They didn't seem healthy in her opinion. They all seemed to be in romantic relationships with the brothers, which seemed odd. And there was this restriction of movement of all the women.
And if history has taught us anything, and you can take a look at the past video too that we did on cults, often cults do end up doing this as a business or for their own personal sick pleasures. Again, limiting movement, things like that. This is typical cult behavior. It's also behavior to control someone in a trafficking situation as well.
Jane Doe raised the alarm and police raided the Tate compound. The brothers were taken into custody and eventually charged with trafficking and other offences. But frustratingly, justice moves slowly in Romania. No one knows when or if the case will go to trial.
And again, by Andrew's own admission years back, that is why he moved this whole operation to Romania.
I think for some of his key fans, there's probably nothing that you can do. Even a successful criminal conviction would just have them believing that he's been falsely imprisoned. And
in my last video, when we were discussing some fundamentalist cults that in the past, that is what they do. The leader will say that they are being falsely imprisoned. And then essentially he goes on to explain here, the documentarian, that because it takes so long to see justice, especially in places like Romania, it gives Andrew time to build up a narrative and make himself out to be the victim.
Cases to take a long period of time, but what it allows Andrew Tate to do is sow this idea that it's a rubbish case, right? If they had an argument to make, I'd be in prison already, but I'm not. That's what he always says. So it really allows him to create himself as a kind of martyr if things don't go his way.
The Tates say they're innocent of all allegations, and remarkably, that they're in fact the victims of women making false claims. Women like Jane Doe, who's being sued for defamation by the Tates, despite never speaking with the media.
Hi, guys.
She's been harassed. She's facing a smear campaign. She's been living in hiding for years, and she's defending against these lawsuits. And she could have crumbled, which I think they thought she would. But she isn't.
So if any of you have been following this story, like Andrew's been traveling all over the world too. Things have, like, charges were dropped, then they were started again. It's happened in the UK, I believe, and I think Romania, they're dropped one point and they started up again. And in the States, of course, he's welcomed with open arms. He's a mega supporter, whatever. I think I have an article or something. I'll put a screenshot of what the president said about him. But I didn't know about this, but Andrew's been trying to get into Dubai during this war, and it's a little odd. And this person, Therese, very good channel, by the way, I do recommend her, especially for women, go check her out. She actually put some stuff together that he might be trying to go to Dubai to avoid getting actually convicted in places. It's a theory, it's not proven, because yes, charges were dropped, but then they were started back up again, which means like new evidence and stuff was found. So I think that he's not escaping the charges like he hoped he would. I'm going to play you this just because I found it interesting. It seems like a strategy that he's doing, and this is, again, very, very recent. So just so you have an update on the case and you understand what's going on with the law aspect of it. And then we're going to get into a story of an ex of his in the United States that was attacked and the lawsuit that she has going as well. Also, I'm horrible with names. It might be pronounced Teresa or Therese.
Here's a clip from March 6, 2026 from a YouTube creator named Trapmore Ross. Tate is apparently trying to get back into Dubai and was detained again a few days ago.
Because I have 34 investment properties in Dubai. I have children in Dubai. I have family in Dubai. And I've not evacuated anyone. Because I'm betting with my own flesh and blood that in 2 days, this crap will be gone. So now, time to cross the border, huh?
And side question, if he's so innocent, why is he fleeing to Dubai? Why is he risking arrest, risking danger during a war to go to Dubai? Could it be because the UAE has no extradition treaty with Romania? I'd be willing to bet that whatever punishment awaits you in the UK is likely better than the punishment that awaits you in Romania. So, I don't know, that could have something to do with it. He claims he has family there that needs to protect, but you would think that if you have family in a country that is at risk for people being injured from war, you would get the family out to Romania where you are there safe. Why do you need to go there?
It's a bit of a mess because it's multiple countries, but let's narrow down and talk about specific victims. A lot of ex-girlfriends and women in his life are now coming forward with their stories of how he physically hurt them and psychologically hurt them as well.
Did I say the word listen? Did I say the word listen? I didn't say the word listen. Did I say listen? Did I say listen?
Do you ever have to apologize, make amends to women for things you've done or said?
No, because I will never apologize because I don't make mistakes.
Model Bree Stern accusing Tate of assaulting and choking her.
I was terrified that I might die.
Early messages between Tate and Stern appear to show him smothering her with love.
He told me everything on the internet was just a facade.
Whether it's cults, toxic relationships, they all kind of function the same way. First, he was love bombing her, and then it became more aggressive over time.
Text messages between Bree and Andrew show the alleged violent nature of their relationship.
You need to be hit.
Why? I don't like it. What did I do?
You deserve it. Because I want to beat the out of you. You will give me a child this year.
Why do you want to beat me? It's 12:30 a.m. I'm in the room. I sleep soon.
What's the point in having you if I don't beat you and impregnate you? You should be thankful.
In another text message, Tate alleges that he enjoys beating Bree because he found it relaxing. I mean, Nasty doesn't even begin to cover something like that. Bree is the first woman to publicly identify herself as an alleged victim of Andrew Tate. But she's not the only one making accusations.
When I'd seen him again in 2013, I thought, oh, all these rumours about him may be false because he's actually been really lovely. We started to make out on the bed. Out of the blue, he literally just stopped what he was doing and just laid back. He said, I'm just contemplating whether I should you or not. Within an instant, he changed. He just jumped straight on top of me, grabbed my throat, started suffocating me, strangling me. The more I didn't want to, it made him so much more aggressive to the point where he was pinning me down, hurting me. The things he was saying to me, he was like, who do you belong to? Who do you belong to? And the more I couldn't say it, the more he'd hurt me. So I couldn't see an escape. And at that point, I just gave up. I just gave up. And then when it stopped, he went to the bathroom and acted as if it was normal. So I'm like, maybe I did. Did I want it? Did I not? I definitely said to him, please don't, and he told me, shut the fuck up. Definitely got strangled. I definitely didn't want it. Did he think I wanted it? And you look back, the psychological warfare you have with yourself is like you couldn't even imagine. You wouldn't know, you wouldn't understand it unless you've been through it.
Amelia's method of coping with the alleged was to pretend to herself that it was a normal relationship.
I've also been through SA as well, and this is what happens. We try to rationalize it, reason it, because the support just isn't there for when we do try to seek justice.
It wasn't consensual because he knew I didn't want it, which he confirms in multiple voice messages and texts to me.
Am I a bad person? Because the more you didn't like it, the more I enjoyed it. I loved how much you hated it. Turn me on. Are you seriously so offended I strangled you a little bit? You didn't pass out.
Due to fears of harassment from his fan base, she is also withholding her real name.
We were just sitting on the bed and Andrew punched me in my arm. I went to the bathroom and cried. It really, really hurt to have someone just hit me in the arm for no reason. I was very confused. Sorry. Sorry, I don't want to cry.
It's okay.
He used to strangle us as well. There was another time when he came into the bedroom, me and the other girl, we would sleep in the same bed with Andrew, but at this time the girl had a partner, so she was not interested in Andrew at all. And I had gone to the shower, I came back and I noticed he was, I saw him raping her. And I went to the police shortly after that. Nothing was done really. She went to the police and then that's when they arrested him and took him into custody for like 2 days. It kind of just got left. I would send emails asking them to update, I'd hear nothing back.
When we reached out to Hertfordshire Police about this, they had this to say. We acknowledge that there were some delays to the investigation. This was addressed at the time and apologies were made.
She asked us not to use her real name or to show her full face because she says she fears retribution from Tate's fans.
He was fairly charming. We got on quite well. So the second time I saw him, he was working, I think he was working as a doorman in the nightclub, and he came to mine after a shift. And that was when the incident happened. So we were having sex and he strangled me until I passed out. And then when I came back around, he was still having sex with me while I'd been passed out. So yeah, quite scared. There was no like consent, me telling him to do it or saying it was fine. He just kind of did it. He sort of kept saying things like, "Oh, I own you, you're mine," kind of quite like possessive things. He was quite aggressive and kept kind of like holding me against the wall by my neck and saying that he was going to kill me. And then he left and I never saw him again.
She says she was in shock and confused about what happened and decided not to go to the police at the time.
At the time, I kind of just thought it was like a funny story, which is weird to say, because I didn't really have any kind of education on consent and kind of what that looked like.
So on the one channel that I pulled a bunch of the videos from, that they had different interviews from different organizations like BBC and such that we just watched. They actually linked to this fundraiser where they are working on a case to go after Andrew, and it looks like they are updating it. Last update was February this year, so I think that it's a valid fundraiser, and I'll make sure that I link it as well below. Now, this next video provides a moving visual of how underreported and underprosecuted cases of SA are.
Can you please stand if you know of someone who has experienced assault, whether it be a friend, a family member, coworker, or even yourself? Take a look around. Now, the second question I have for you. If you know that that person reported their assault, please stay standing. If to your knowledge they did not report their assault, you please quietly sit down. Third and final question for those of you still standing. If the perpetrator received any kind of punishment or justice, will you please stay standing? If to your knowledge they did not, will you please quietly sit down? Thank you.
The Me Too movement has a website here and there's a bunch of resources, so I do suggest checking that out if you are in need of any help. Now let's move further into the fallout of all this. Let's discuss the manosphere as a whole outside of one person. It's more than just Andrew Tate. Consequences from this is there's a lot of young men out there who their worldview is just totally skewed. It's probably never going to recover. Like, they're still in this sort of cult mentality with him.
He tells these kids how weak and pathetic they are, and then the only solution to this is to give Andrew Tate $50 a month, buy his crypto, continue giving him more money. They'll get lots of women, they will drive a Bugatti. So that's where all the flashy videos of Tate bragging about his wealth and women and how great he is comes into it, because he ties that into his messaging towards these kids.
Tate's vile thinking has indoctrinated so many boys worldwide, it even became the plot of hit Netflix drama Adolescence, where a boy is driven to murder a girl because of toxic masculine culture.
No, I don't know what that is. What is it? It's the involuntary celibate stuff. It's the Andrew Tate shite.
So a personality like Tate acts as a compression point. He makes the worldview feel simple and emotionally charged. A cult personality, it can create an ecosystem. Even if the figure fades, the movement can keep running because the ideology becomes portable. And it's spread through a lot. Like there's a lot of different copycat creators. There's different so many bro podcasts, all sorts of private communities teaching you how to be an alpha bro. There's even like alpha bro getaways as well. That in itself has become a leaderless cult. Similar to a leaderless ideology, however, the people in it tend to seek out a leader who's saying the things that they like to hear. So the idea of red pills started as a Matrix metaphor for waking up.
It's to give the follower an ultimate solution to life.
I get called Morpheus all the time in my DMs because I'm trying to wake people up. If the Matrix is real and you are watching this video, I am Morpheus.
I am the guy trying to wake you up.
Morpheus, like an actual spiritual leader and mentor to Neo, the main character of The Matrix.
Then it got absorbed into the broader Manosphere, which is an online ecosystem, like I said, of creators and communities around masculinity, dating, power narratives, trad husbands, trad wives, alpha bros, blah, 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 blah. The funny thing is, these people have co-opted the Matrix red pill stuff, and they don't realize that story was written as like a simile or allegory, whatever, of the people who wrote it were trans, and they felt that this explained or described how they felt in the world, that something wasn't quite right. There was always something a little off. And then once they realize they're trans and then they transition, now suddenly they're living their real truth, their real life, what the reality really is. That is the Matrix is based on that. And these people have co-opted this. One, it sucks that they co-opted it. But two, they especially hate people that are LGBTQIA. And it's like, but the whole story that was what the story was about, was the struggle that these people feel. And so I think it's crazy that they are so adamant about that and have so much hate towards it and don't realize that they're using this symbol that doesn't at all represent what they're talking about.
The red pill is a cult. The origins of the Manosphere are murky and seem to stretch back to at least the 1970s, when pickup artists wrote books and made videos about how to score tons of groovy chicks.
Hi, I'm Michael Jeffries. So let's watch now and see as they flirt with magic.
Okay, yeah, I forgot that I found this video. It's actually very concise. He goes into a lot more detail about the verbiage and all the other techniques and everything that the red pill community uses to draw people in and keep them in. I'm gonna put a bunch of clips from this video, but I'm not gonna play the whole thing. I 100% recommend that you go check out the full video. He's got a whole series on this actually, and it's very well researched and very well done.
Fast forward to 2012, which is when the Red Pill subreddit was founded by Reddit user PK Atheist, who was later revealed to be New Hampshire Republican State Representative Robert Fisher. The Red Pill quickly grew to become the unholy nexus of the Manosphere, giving angry men a central place to come together and develop their latent misogyny and toxic masculinity into a full-fledged ideology that preaches hatred of women. The strategies and tactics used by the Red Pill community are very similar to the methods used by cults, extremist religious groups, and white supremacist organizations. Cult recruiters tend to skulk around places where people go when they're down and out. This makes the internet a perfect recruiting ground for cult-like groups like the Red Pill, especially sites like Reddit and YouTube, which are full of sad, lonely men. Red Pillers try very hard to present their ideology as benign, especially in public-facing communications like this excerpt from an interview with the Red Pill moderator. We're accused of misogyny almost daily. I won't deny that the language is colorful and there's a lot of emotion expressed by the men on the forum, but before the Red Pill, there wasn't really a way for these guys to express their feelings.
Now, I would like to feature some of the victims of these movements and these cults, the young men who get caught up in it, because yes, there's a lot of victims that are women, and we're going to circle back to that, but there are victims that are men as part of this because they bring them in when they're very young and they don't realize and can't tell that this isn't a healthy environment to be in.
When he was a teenager in Melbourne, like millions of other boys around the world, Leeson Timms fell for the lies and the venom of social media star Andrew Tate.
For me, it was year 11. COVID started, forced to kind of stop doing the things that I love doing and not being able to see the people in my life, and became chronically online, spent hours on hours every single day. It started off with this man who was buff and tall and had the success and the things that, every teenage boy would want. I really felt tied to him because I was like, oh, finally someone I can look up to with a way of being, a way that I can be as a man, kind of in a way that doesn't exist anymore.
They're just not going to snap out of it until they realize that what they're asking for is just not going to happen in today's day.
I'd love to have a nice car one day. I hope I have an amazing wife one day. They're great things to look up to, but where's the people showing us the distinction between the good and the bad?
These days, Leeson's embarrassed that he was sucked into Tate's world of misogyny, but he wants to give others an insight into how easy it was for Tate to infect him with outdated views about the power men have over women.
I think it made me think I was untouchable and I couldn't make a mistake, and that I was like perfect, and the women in the world will kind of just like work around my way of being.
When I was 17, I fell down the red pill pipeline and I managed to get myself out about 5 years later. They would say that society is gynocentric, which means that society caters to women. I would say at 17, I was socially awkward, very introverted. I felt I was ugly in high school. So I went on YouTube and looked up tips regarding dating and women. It eventually led me down this deep, dark hole. It was able to kind of take the weight of blame off of myself. Like, actually, women are the ones in control. You're actually the victim in this situation. It's a very appealing thing to be the victim. I didn't view it as like, I've got to put them down type of thing. Like, it was saying that, hey, we understand why you feel bad. If you just learn what we have to give you, you'll be the one winning here soon. Before you know it, you're commenting, you're reading more, but at the same time, you're distrustful of the women around you. You're distrustful of people around you because you think they don't know what you know. It just degrades your own mental health. You start, without even realizing it, isolating yourself. I first started questioning my beliefs when I went through a breakup. Me and a friend of mine, we went to a cabin party. I started crying in front of one of the girls who I liked there. This girl responded rather with like shame and disgust that the red pill told me that they would react. She was actually like really kind about it. And that kind of made me think, what if I'm wrong? The reason I say it's compared to a cult, they don't like outsiders. They don't like outside thought. There was a lot of rage. I have a mom. I have women friends. I don't want to take away their rights. And then over time, they got really disgusting. I don't feel comfortable saying some of the other stuff I saw. Just vile, misogynistic comments. I'm on ex-red pill forums to help other people out like I would have helped me out. Helping others too is kind of maybe a way of like rectifying it. Something I wish that someone would told me when I was in the red pill. Not everyone who tells you that you're right is your friend. I feel like content creators in the red pill, they don't believe sincerely what they say and they're only saying it to get money. Community is the solution for this. Isolation is what's leading people down these rabbit holes.
All right, now for the random add-on that I didn't really plan, I'm going to play you the trailer of the Netflix documentary, and then we'll get into some more stuff from there. So Throw has copyrighted everything with the documentary. I can't even show the trailer. So I'm going to try to edit it. It may look funny, may only get audio. We'll see what we can do. If all else, I mean, you can take a look at the trailer. It's up on YouTube, but we'll do our best here.
I'd start my day off working out,
Who are
doing
you
hard
talking
things.
to?
What, do I not talk to them? Talk to you.
We're not on social media now. What would you say is the message?
I coach boys how to make money, how to be outside the system, how to be proper guys.
I was entering the Manosphere, a wild frontier of streamers whose behavior is reshaping the culture.
I'm doing it for money. I don't care about
the morality of it.
I'm not living for other people. I'm living for myself.
We don't cross into each other's lane.
Stains, huh? You seem upset by it. You seem upset by it. Do you consider yourself a misogynist?
I love women and I actually understand them.
You think you know better than they do?
They want a guy that can lead them and dominate them.
I'm raw, I'm not a puppet, I'm not controlled.
The interesting thing with this documentary, not really interesting, I guess, the flaw with this documentary is he spent all his time interviewing these men. He tried to speak to some of the women, but, you know, they're in a very controlled environment. But he never talked to any other women or therapists or anyone that works maybe in social work or something who has dealt with the fallout of these relationships that these women get stuck in. Plus also, I mean, he didn't talk to anyone who is a specialist in the trafficking situation. There's lawyers, there's different people that he could have talked to. That is the one drawback of this documentary that he really dropped the ball on. So we don't get a woman's perspective during this whole thing. It's all a male's perspective, which is good to have and understand, but I think that you also need to show the women's side of it because men are so blinded or poisoned in their mind from this community that they don't understand that women aren't what they think they are. So, okay, we're going to start off first. I'm going to play you a bit of a TikTok from this woman. She actually works in DV. She's like works in a center. I believe she's a social worker or a therapist, something like that. Let's listen to her feedback about the documentary. Then we're going to get back into Teresa's Treese channel. I really like her stuff, to be honest. I really like her channel. We're going to take a look at some things that she had to say, because there's a lot that she says that's very good points. And yes, I could just like reiterate all these things, but I feel like it's better for you guys to experience these creators versus me just taking what they say and making my own script out of it and essentially paraphrasing it. So I like hearing the feedback of other women, especially women that work in different fields. Okay, let's get into some of this feedback.
My name is Haley. I'm an educator in domestic violence. Follow along if critical thinking is your jam. First thing that wasn't said is that the central ideology is that women cannot be trusted, therefore need to be controlled. The Luth model recognizes that abuse is driven by entitlement and control, desire to have power over another person. This is exactly why this ideology becomes abusive behavior, because the ideology itself is abusive. Heaven forbid a woman have autonomy or refuse to be controlled, because in their minds, women are only useful as far as their body is available to them.
Anyone who follows my channel should know by now that I am more of a feminist, and of course I do stick up for women quite a bit, so you shouldn't be surprised that I do like this creator. She's gonna get into some stuff regarding Darvo, and I know some of you probably have heard of it, some of you may not have heard of it, but I think it's actually very interesting as she does apply it to this documentary. So I do want to show you some of the stuff that she talks about here, as I do think it's a really good opportunity for everyone to learn from. I'm going to start with the viral clip that they've been using in their advertising, but a lot of people have been sharing. This is from the documentary.
Lewis is speaking with Manosphere content creator Harrison Sullivan, otherwise known as HS. The conversation is tense, but controlled. But then the tone shifts. Lewis brings up HS's criminal charges that he has pending.
You know what? I get Jimmy Savile energy from some of the Manosphere figures. Jimmy Savile used to refer to women. HS seem to have changed tactics to put me on the back foot.
Can I ask you a question? Are Israel committing genocide? You're a puppet. You can't say what you want to say.
You want to think about what...
You're a puppet.
My opinion...
You're a puppet the same way you are for Savile. Puppet, mate.
Last year.
No, we're filming for a YouTube video. The thing is with me, I don't have to edit. I don't do this bullshit editing that you guys do, where this wouldn't be in the show. I'm raw. I'm not a puppet. I'm not controlled. No one's my daddy. Savile's your daddy. The Jew's your daddy. You know it.
While HS doesn't shout, you can tell he's angry. His voice sharpens, his posture changes. The subject is no longer his pending criminal charges. The subject is Lewis, the guy making the documentary, the guy who's asking the questions. HS brings up Jimmy Savile. His mother steps in and accuses Lewis of exploiting her son for profit. Now he's talking about Gaza. Now he's talking about Jews controlling the media. And then he turns away from Lewis and the documentary crew entirely and starts speaking directly into his live stream camera.
This is why I say what I believe, and I don't need to edit anything, ever.
What you just watched is a technique that's been studied since 1997. It has a clinical name because they all do the same thing. It's not a communication style. It's an abuse tactic. And it is very common among Manosphere creators and misogynists generally, because at their core, men in the Manosphere are fundamentally abusive men. And Louis Theroux and his crew caught it on camera.
And this is Darvo, which is going to dive into more about it, the history of it, who kind of coined the term, invented it, discovered it, and so forth. So I found this very informative.
The clinical term for what HS did in that clip is DARVO. It stands for Deny, Attack, Reverse Victim and Offender. The concept was coined by Jennifer Freyd, a professor of psychology at the University of Oregon, in a 1997 peer-reviewed paper entitled Violations of Power, Adaptive Blindness, and Betrayal Trauma Theory, published in the Journal of Feminism and Psychology. Freyd developed the framework while studying how sexual offenders respond when they're confronted with accusations, when they're held accountable, and that they all did the same thing. They all responded in the same way, and she called it DARVO. When someone with power is held accountable for their harmful behavior, they follow this predictable sequence. First, they deny the accusation. Then they attack the person raising the issue. And then finally, they reverse the narrative entirely, presenting themselves as the victim and the accuser as the offender. That's the sequence, every time. The viral clip from this documentary isn't Lewis's framing, it's the confrontation. It's the scene where Sullivan performs victimhood for his audience, where he hijacks the narrative of the very documentary that was supposed to scrutinize him. That's Darvo applied to the medium itself.
Now, in some of the clips that we've already looked at, you would have noticed that Andrew has been applying Darvo, but let's take a look at this clip. And now that you know about Darvo, you'll be able to clearly see what's going on here.
And for anybody here who wants to do honest journalism, you need to ask yourselves why there is this witch hunt. Why the Matrix is so desperate to try and convince the world I'm a bad person and put me in jail when I've clearly done nothing wrong. It's been 3 solid years. They can't even find enough evidence to take me to trial.
Andrew Tate, charged with human trafficking, and what's his response? Deny the charges. The Matrix is after me. Attack the institutions. Journalists are corrupt. Reverse. He's being persecuted for living his dreams or whatever. Textbook Darvo, industrial scale. That video is from March 24th, 2025. These men operate like abusive men because they are abusive men. Tricking women into falling in love with you, then taking their passports and forcing them to do sex work. Manipulating a woman into cleaning your house, waiting on you hand and foot while you go out and sleep with whoever you want, but she does not have that same freedom in the relationship. Again, Darvo was not developed to describe podcasters and live streamers. It was developed to describe offenders and the perpetrators of intimate partner violence. The fact that it maps so perfectly onto those guys should tell you everything you need to know about what this movement actually is.
And then she sort of ends the video explaining that the person who came up with the term Darvo, the person who did the research on it, she did find in her studies that once we become aware of what Darvo is, we can recognize it very easily out in the world, and we tend to not fall for it once we are made aware of it.
What's happening in the Manosphere isn't just internet drama. It's a movement. It's a radicalization pipeline, and it's shaping everything from dating culture to domestic violence rates to political extremism.
And for those of you who are out there saying, not all men, just some men, I have a special message.
When we don't make a point to say, not all men, we're accused of attacking or hating men. I'm going to explain to you right here now why that is not true. We are confronting a system. It's not about individual men. It's about the system that shapes them. Masculinity, as it's currently constructed, teaches men and boys that vulnerability is weakness, control is strength, and that power must be performed, even when it causes harm. The problem isn't men. The problem is masculinity, how patriarchy defines and enforces it. There is no difference between traditional masculinity and toxic masculinity. They are the same thing. We can't talk about the global epidemic of violence against women and girls without addressing this system. We can't let our fear of offending men stop us from naming the root cause, because men's feelings are not more important than our lives.